This is Gwen Talks Radio, where intimate conversations reveal, heal, inspire, and entertain. And now, here's your host, Tess Cacciatore.
Okay, here we go. If you're listening to this show live, it's the day before Thanksgiving. And if you're listening to it sometime down the road, the same rules apply. We get so carried away by the holidays and by everyday living that we rush through life. So I just want to talk about this morning about how every day we can learn how to slow down. What are techniques that we could use that empowers us to be able to go within at any given moment? If you're on an airplane, if you're in rush hour traffic, if you're on a subway, if you live in a city that has a subway, if you are wherever you are, what is your go-to place to be able to get to that place of serenity? So in meditation, it's really great to find that serenity place that you can take yourself back to at any given moment. What does that look like to you? Is it being by a calm, beautiful lake in the mountains? Is it by the ocean side? I tend to go to water places, but maybe you're in a completely different place. Wherever that serenity place is, it's really great to discover what that is, and that when you're in the moment of stress, that you take yourself to that place. So if you're spending time with relatives and there's a lot of stress around, it'd be really great to just be able to imagine yourself sitting by a beautiful creek with the birds chirping and let all the drowns of the drama fade away and figure out how you can deal with everybody in your life, whether they're strangers or family members or friends, just to be able to slow down and giggle at life. Sometimes we have to realize that there's time that we can love people from afar, and then there's times where we can dig in deeper because we're really committed to that relationship and we want to have communication. And know that all times we have the opportunity to open our hearts and live and love even bigger. So I'm really excited about this show. I know I say that about every show because I just am surrounded by the most amazing people and I get to celebrate them. And this show is no different. When coming up with the title for the show, I knew it had to be with gratitude because here we are in the Thanksgiving week. And I realized that gratitude and grace really resonated with me. So that's the title of this episode. We have three amazing people on the show today. We have Dr. Sarah Larson, who's a transformational leader and coach. We have Sister Jenna, who's a spiritual leader and founder of the Meditation Museum in Washington, D.C. And I think it's really great to have a meditation museum right in the heart of our country because I think we need a lot of meditation and prayer and internal reflection these days. And then we also have a dear friend, Simon Mainwaring, who's a global leader and thought leader, transforming the landscape of how corporations become responsible. The big, giant 800-pound gorillas and how they're giving back and how we can participate with global brands to encourage them to give back even more. So I really feel that internal peace can be broken down into three categories. First off is about finding internal peace. What is going on within ourselves? The next step is to find it outside of ourselves in our daily practice with our families, our friends, and our communities. And then the third piece, I believe, is finding your passion and purpose and taking it out into the world. A lot of people are talking about all that's going on. Every hour of the day, there's breaking news. I remember when I started watching news, you might see breaking news once a month, and now it's on an hourly basis. So my friends and I talk all the time about what's going on in the news, and some people are deciding to check out and not watch it at all. But I tend to think that I want to know what's going on there without engaging too much on the emotional side, because there is a higher purpose, I believe, going on, and that we are living in a time that's really exciting. I think there's a lot of really positive things that are going on. Behind the scenes, there is something that's more powerful and divine that we can even define. And with all this chaos and confusion and all this drama, we just need to trust and have faith. And I remember when I was a kid going on the carnival rides, and you're about ready to get onto the scary, hairy roller coaster ride. And the phrase that comes to me often that I think about is keep your hands and feet inside the ride at all times. You got to have humor in this crazy world that we're living in. And I'm really excited to introduce you to my guest today, and we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm David Longoria with my new song, Playground, featuring Dallas Lovato with me. Time to dance. Playground is available now on all digital music stores and streaming. David Longoria featuring Dallas Lovato. Playground.
Okay, here we go. Welcome back to Gwen Talks Radio, and this is your host, Tess Cacciatore. I want to take this time to thank our sponsors and advertisers. And if you are a like-minded individual or a business, you have a book or a business that you want to promote, we'd love to hear from you. Going in, I'm so excited about this show. I know I say that every week, but it just seems like every week it gets juicier in the conversations, the intimate details that we get to expose, the wisdom that we share. As you know, we do a charity spotlight, a few of them each episode. And so I want to do a charity spotlight shout out to riseofthebutterfly.com, which is supporting girls around the world with regard to sex trafficking. And that ties into our first guest, which is Dr. Sarah Larson. She told me about this organization, which I love hearing about organizations that I don't know about, because my personal mission is about shining a spotlight on individuals and organizations that are making a difference in the world. And each one of our guests today is making a huge difference in people's lives. So we're going to bring on Dr. Sarah Larson. She is trained in Western and Eastern medicine. She's a transformational teacher and coach and a world-class speaker and entrepreneur. Coming from a repressive society and having experienced an arranged and abusive marriage from the ages of 14 to 19, Dr. Sarah sought knowledge in science, history, and religious traditions to heal herself and expand her worldview. She can be seen and heard throughout the world on iHeartRadio, UBN Radio TV, and CRN Network with its 25 million subscribers. I am so excited to welcome Dr. Sarah Larson to the show. Hello, hello.
Hello.
I'm so excited to have you because I was on your show not too long ago, and you and your lovely husband co-host this amazing show. A shout out to your husband, Greg. I love the illumination that you both share in the world. I just want you to just launch in and talk about the amazing things that you're doing. We want to talk about the finding our purpose and passion today.
Thank you so much. First of all, thank you for being on our show, Miracle Makers. Your episode we got so many comments back on what the beautiful work that you're doing. And I'm so grateful and excited to be here because we really get to bring the love and the miracle and a frequency that leads to ultimate happiness. And I know today we're going to talk about purpose and evolving purpose. And we're going to talk about all of these beautiful nuggets of truth that will help free everyone that's listening. I want to thank you also for bringing up Rise of the Butterfly. It's a foundation that I'm on the board of with Layla Love and Gloria Steinem. And this organization feels humans should not own other humans. And so that's the purpose of that beautiful organization. And it brings me at one point in my life, as I was born in a developing country. I was born in a society that didn't fully recognize and still may not fully understand how much women have to offer and how important it is to educate and how important it is to really have more than just the purpose for those women to bear children, to take care of their husband. And when I was launched into an arranged marriage at age 14 to a 28-year-old doctor, even though I'd grown up half my life in the United States, it was a tradition of our family. That tradition of our family stopped with me. That was the first purpose that I came into, was having the sort of the rough first experience that many women in that culture experience on their first wedding night, the first time they actually speak to another man that isn't related to them. That was my story.
I didn't know that about your story, and it's so amazing that you actually found at a young age your purpose to push through that and to change your cultural story and your family line. And just to let our listeners know, you're originally from Pakistan.
Originally from Pakistan, and at one point it was really hard for me to say that. And today I'm so grateful and honored to say that, because I've really learned, wherever you are, be the heart of that place. And whatever country you might have been born in, you have the heart of that place inside your heart. But wherever you are, be the heart of that place, so that you can really dive into the purpose over all that you're here to do. And Pakistan is developing, and just, I believe it's 50 or 60 years behind the United States in liberation for women, or in concepts and core ideas that will help the country fully recognize, even though it's had women leadership, it hasn't fully recognized how important it is to allow everyone to develop their purpose. And the purpose isn't just to bear children, men or women, that we don't have to have these structured roles. We can allow our development of children, our development of individuals. And I believe it's moving in that direction. The last set of videos and news and information, it really was highlighting education for women in those areas. And it's because women stood up and said, and asked for it in a manner that could be heard. And
how did you find the strength at the age of 14? I grew up in Des Moines, Iowa, for gosh sakes. I didn't even know that this sort of thing was happening in the world. I was, living, amongst the cornfields, and our doors were wide open, and our car keys were still in our cars. I can't imagine at the age of 14, the strength and conviction that you had to go through to put a stop to this.
I don't know if I would call it strength or conviction, or I would just call it someone that cried out loud what was happening. And I announced it and tried to bring help to my situation. And anytime I would see it happening amongst us or anyone, I would share my stories, and I would share the stories of others that I'd heard along the way.
But that is such strength and conviction. You might not see that, but from me on the outside, you're like a shero to me, because that took a lot of courage.
And for me, the hard part was trying not to shame my family or shame the environment, because in that area, in those regions, respect and honoring your family, your word, giving your word, all business, all resources, from food to water to economic growth, is based on your word and how you are with your family. And a woman that's divorced in that culture means that somehow there's dishonor, and that family can't be 100% trusted. Or a man that divorces a woman, that family too cannot be trusted. And so amongst all of these mixed emotions from 14 to 19, at 19, I was left for dead because it's better in that society cultural thinking in the past that it was better for a woman to be dead than for there to be a divorce in either family. And
Wow.
so that was my experience. I was left for dead. I survived what's called an honor killing. And the family on the other side suffered just as much as I suffered and my own family suffered, because my parents had a happy arranged marriage, my grandparents, and the family on the other side. And for our marriage not to work, 14 to 28, different cultures, different places, I wasn't trained in it. It grew my first purpose into my second purpose, which was to really discover what had gotten all of us into this mix, into this sort of energy that was the choices that we made. And I started learning about forgiveness and acceptance and the mystery school teachings, because I had near-death experiences throughout the time from 14 to 19, where I was being choked or where I was being repressed. And in those situations, I would leave my body, or my breath would leave my body, and I would be in this beautiful light area. Amazing light would come in, and that light would be love, and that light would show me and what other people were experiencing or feeling because of how I was behaving. So I could see that he didn't want to be choking me, but I was not there wasn't in his mind another agreement he could make with me. And so I would come back out of a physically violent experience and understand what he was thinking and feeling, and at the same time trying to protect or heal or not be wounded further. And at the same time, sort of this messy space of just wanting to have more options and more choices for myself and those that around us. And so it's a very much an experience that I wanted to find explanations for, that this other place that we went to, this behind the veil is what I call it, or behind the agreements, because I could see he agreed to be that way so that I could awaken something, but I didn't know what it was that was awakening until I started seeking the mystery that brought into my life. And so the mystery set me on a path of being of service as a doctor, learning how to be a doctor. I didn't want anyone else to go through it. It also set me on a path of trying to understand the religions and the faiths of our world, and to see if I could find the nuggets of source energy that I felt. And it also set me on this path of desperately wanting my parents' love and approval, and a journey of self-respect and self-love that I continue to explore and develop and learn from, as I see it's a purpose that a lot of humanity truly needs to dive into as well.
Absolutely. Oh my gosh. I could spend hours diving deeper into your story. We have so much to explore together, and we'll have to, just unwind this conversation because I have thousands of questions, but I want to get to the practical guides of you went through your own evolution to be able to know what your evolution was to teach the world. So we only have a couple minutes left before we have to go to break. So can we get some practical tips of how we can start to unravel our own journey, our own story, to find the evolution of our own passion?
So we will be traveling forever. I believe we're never created nor destroyed. And so the energy that is us will be in movement or traveling or existing forever. And so if we fully understand this, it's seeking our soul in the places that we know has soul meaning for us is one of the best ways in which to find your own purpose, to find your that next state. Travel, whether it's within your current environment, go to places that you haven't been to, explore things, and if you have the means, travel far from where you are, where different languages are spoken. And if you're called in your dreams to travel to spaces, travel to those spaces. There are two things that have infinitely given to us. Earth has infinitely given to us. She has given us so beautifully everything that we're wearing, everything that we're eating. Very little has come from outside of the earth to give to us. And the sun is giving to the earth. The sun gives infinitely. Source gives to us infinitely. And the way that we get to give and find purpose is to find something that, like the earth, like the sun, that you can just shine your light on. And
I love that. Yeah. So I just have to get to break really quickly. I think that the travel thing and understanding each other's cultures is really important. At the end of the show, we're going to tell people how to get to you, because I know you have an Egypt tour coming up on the December 26th to January 9th. We want to talk about that at the end of the show and let people know where to go. As I said, Dr. Sarah, I just adore you. Stay on the call with us, because we're going to bring on a very special two other guests that we want to be able to have these intimate dialogues so we can reveal and heal. So we'll be back with Sister Jenna. We'll be right back.
Gwen Talks Radio is a division of Gwen.live, an entertainment platform for accelerating social good, featuring films, series, books, music, and radio from around the world to bridge cultures and connect us all. We want to hear from you, create with you, activate with you, and work together in unison for a better world. Join the Gwen movement. Go to Gwen.live today.
Okay, here we go. Oh my gosh, we just had the most amazing conversation with Dr. Sarah Larson. And as I was telling her on the break, I could talk to her for hours. So we're going to have to revisit this and revisit all the guests on the show. I have a feeling that this should be like an hour and a half show instead of an hour. But with just excitement beyond, we're going to bring Sister Jenna on, and her charity spotlight is meditationmuseum.org. And that museum is very near and dear to her heart because she's the one that founded it. So she's a spiritual leader, an author, radio and TV personality, renowned speaker, and founder of the Meditation Museum in Silver Spring, Maryland, and McLean, Virginia. She serves as one of the evolutionary leaders in service to conscious evolution and was elected by Empower a Billion Women 2020 as one of the 100 most influential leaders of 2015. You also serve as a principal partner with the Oprah Winfrey Network and Values Partnership on the Belief Team. And then, honorary doctor, humane letters of degrees with St. Thomas Aquinas College for your many years of dedication and service to humanity. I want to just bless you and welcome you to the show.
Yada, right?
Yada, yada, blah, blah, blah. Oh my gosh, accolades.
You know
we
what?
Love you.
Tess, I'm so happy to be with you and everyone else on the air, and to all your listeners as well. And I just know for everyone, sometimes you get these bios, and I guess we're in this culture where we have to somehow convince individuals who are listening that we are experts, that we have something to offer.
We have so much to offer.
Yeah, let's just hope, despite the bio or the background, it's just that whatever we share with one another, that it has some meaning and purpose, and that we reach a culture that we can all just learn from everyone and from each other.
Well, your meditation shows, your radio, your TV. I'm so excited. I've been talking to Antonia over the course of the last few months, and Gwen.live. You can find all of the programming on your platform, but I'm really honored and excited that your content is going up this week on Gwen.live. And also we're going to be talking to Simon Mainwaring soon, and he has content, and Dr. Sarah has content. It's just an explosion of wonderful content. So let's talk about your work, your mission, and how you're creating this meditation museum and how you're bringing peace to the world in such beautiful ways.
Thank you, Tess. I guess my work and my mission is our work and our mission together. I believe very deeply, each and every one of us, if we listen very clearly, we get a signal or a sense that there's something more that we need to pay attention to, where our interior world is concerned. And based on that, we can begin to build more confidence or trust in the choices that we make. And perhaps we are in the state that we're in currently because maybe we haven't been listening very quietly or listening clear enough to what those very deep thoughts are signaling to us. For example, have you ever, Tess, been with somebody where you're smiling, but really behind the smile, you're like, oh God, I wish someone would just call me so I could just get away from this situation.
That's when you have to go really deep within and breathe deep.
Well, it's funny because the point I'm making is that it's that simple, where somehow my very deep interior world, it's not matching what my surface world is presenting. So for me, meditation, spirituality, introspection, conversations like what we're having on the air together today, it's about bringing a very truthful, authentic soul into the narrative. And it's my wish, everyone, that we walk into an age that we can really be so transparent. We don't have to be perfect, but we can be very transparent, that we can definitely feel a sense of security that our up-and-coming generation will have something to look forward to. I'm so concerned about children of today. I'm so concerned where they're going to end up. And so I think folks like us and the generation after us, we're going to need to model a mission of self-reflection, a mission of authenticity, a mission that requires us to match perhaps the most beautiful qualities and virtues that is our birthright of our spirit. And that's really my mission.
I love that you have that mission, because we need a million of you around the planet just to center that grace and that value system, because I too am concerned, from the environmental to the political to all the things that are happening in the world. To me, it feels like the world is escalating to explode the darkness that we can reveal, to talk about what's going on and really dive under the conversation with grace so we can figure out the solution, because a lot of people are running scared. I hear daily, through Facebook or friends call me up and they are in manic mode. And so I try to say, just breathe. So you having the meditation museum, what would be some tools that you could offer to us to calm our brains and our hearts and our souls while we're watching this dramatic situation? The only other option we have is to completely unplug and move to a mountain or to a cave somewhere and not pay attention to what's going on. But I don't know if that's the good part either.
Well, that's been our conditioning and stereotype about folks in meditation and spirituality. Just to give you a thumbs up, we hosted 220 events last year. So the meditators that I know about usually sat there and did nothing. So I'm like of a different breed.
Yes, you are.
So here's what I would recommend to everyone. Please, take some time early in the morning. I get up every morning, 3:30. That's my time to be with the soul and with God. If you could do it, fantastic. Just don't go to bed later than Just don't go to bed later than 11 p.m. But get up early in the morning. Commit to it every day regularly, where you can check in with your soul's thoughts. what thoughts are actually taking place in the soul, connected to the highest qualities of the divine. The second suggestion I would offer, take care of your body, please. Eat healthy. If you can't go completely vegetarian, go meatless Monday. Do one day a week without eating meat, 2 days a week without doing meat. That would be great. The third thing I would recommend is a practice I call traffic control. It comes from our Brahma Kumari's tradition. Every hour on the hour, we pause for 30 to 60 seconds of silence for inner and outer peace. It doesn't matter where we are, what we're doing, but every hour on the hour, there's a chime, and then you go inwards, you raise your quality of thinking, you experience that, and you bring it back to the environment that you're in.
I love that. I love that so
control.
much. Traffic control. I love that. At the end of each of our episodes, you'll hear we do a Mind Over Matter minute, which is 1 minute, just to remind people to take that breath and just to breathe in and relax, because we're always in such hectic places. So I'm going to take up the practice of 1 minute every hour. Traffic control. Good. I love that. Right. So, Sarah, I just want to, have you chime in here, because the two of you are sisters from the same cloth, obviously. So I'd love to see what you have to say about this, or if you have a question for each other.
Well, I just wanted to tell Sarah, my grandmother got married at 12, and she had 12 children by the time she was 18. Oh God, what am I saying? She had 12 children by the time she was in her 20s.
Wow.
And when it's on a cultural level, it's the norm. But when we expand our consciousness and think about what a young woman goes through, Madeleine Albright said it best. I was at an event with her a few years ago, and she said, don't tell me it's cultural, say that it's criminal. And I always walk with this thing whenever I feel there's been an injustice to any gender or culture, and then they call it, it's tradition or culture. I go, no, it isn't. It's criminal. It's just criminal.
It is.
To do that to a child,
Wow.
But I understand your story.
Thank you. And I really love and respect the Brahma Kumaris and how we bring our awareness to ourselves and reset. What a beautiful practice, because all of culture, all of what is criminal, all of it goes back to the spirit behind it. And I see the spirit behind it really being love at one point. And that love was trying to design something that would work. And what we have to do is bring our culture and our systems, our criminal systems, or all of the ways that we judge one another into the current moment and bring it back to love. And I love that you have that practice every hour for 30 seconds to bring back to peace and to elevate the thought. And so how do you experience oneness, Sister Jenna?
Well, I think it's through my practice and my disciplines. I have a lot of disciplines that I feel connect me very closely to some original principles of the soul of all souls. I feel like I return to love if I'm able to comply by universal laws, not man-made laws. And I look at universal laws as simple as if someone's speaking to me and I'm ignoring them, I've broken the law. Or if I'm just agitated at someone and I spoke to them without respect, I just broke a law. And so it's hard for a spirit to love itself if in itself it's not even complying by universal laws to support humanity's sustainability. So I find that for me, it's the discipline, and I love discipline. And I believe the Latin derivative for the word disciple, I think what it means is to learn. So I'm just an open factory for always wanting to learn. And I always recommend that to everyone.
I love this. This is so amazing. The open mind, open heart, 1 minute, an hour to be able to give to our relaxing into our life. I'm so excited. I could talk forever for you with you ladies. I need to take a quick break here, and then we are going to come back with very special guests, because we always have to bring men into Gwen, because we can't do Gwen without the men. And we're going to bring on Simon Mainwaring right when we come back. So we'll be right back.
Hi, this is Fran Drescher, and I'm on Gwen Talk Radio. And I hope you go to cancerschmanza.org and learn how you can reduce your risk of cancer and a lot of other illnesses for you and your family. Go now and save your lives.
The Little Dog That Could is the fantastically true story of a man and a little dog that came into his life as his mentor to help him understand the world beyond his human senses and to experience life, love, and healing beyond his human understanding. Best-selling author Filippo Voltaggio, who currently hosts the highly regarded Life Changes show, is an internationally known singer, speaker, and life coach. Filippo offers up his own story, how one little surprise package in fur and 4 legs transformed his life unexpectedly forever and furthered his path of self-discovery. In The Little Dog That Could, Filippo brings to life the meaning of the adage, when the student is ready, the teacher appears. Through the reading of this book, you will experience the journey of real miracles that transcend time, space, and logic while gaining practical tools that will help you navigate your way. The Little Dog That Could is available through Amazon and Barnes & Noble. For more information, visit thelittledogthatcould.com. That's thelittledogthatcould.com.
We are back. You're listening to Gwen Talks Radio, and I'm your host, Tess Cacciatore. We have Dr. Sarah Larson and Sister Jenna in the house. We've had an amazing conversation, and now I want to open it up with one of our very first Gwen men, one of our very first Gwen people that came to the table. Simon and I have been friends for a long time, and he is one of the ones that really set our brand up. Because when you have that personal journey, you've discovered where you want to go, your purpose and passion, you need someone like an expert like Simon to come in and say, how do you take that brand and that message to the global scale? So Simon is the founder and CEO of We First. It's a brand consultancy that builds purpose-driven brands like Tom's, Virgin, and Timberland. He's the author of New York Times bestseller, We First, which is a fabulous book if you haven't read it. And if you haven't gone to any of his workshops, you have to. And we're going to be talking about one that's coming up on November 29th. But he was voted Best Marketing Book of the Year. He travels all over the world. Every time I see him on Facebook, he's in another country, another city, sharing his knowledge. He's a global expert and thought leader on how to drive business growth through purpose in ways that have a positive impact. So now you know why I brought all three of you together, which I'm so excited. Welcome to the show, Simon.
Thank you so much, Tess, and great to hear your voice.
Oh, you too. I miss you and your lovely family. And I could talk forever about the man you are in the world and the man you are in our community and how you stand up and support all of these global brands to be responsible, for gosh sakes, and just who you are as a family man. So I can cheer you on forever.
Right.
So let's talk about, I do want to cover very importantly while we're still here, before we end the We First masterclass on November 29th, but I want to talk about the global brands that you've been working with. How do you see the culture changing of the global brands and how they are making a difference in their own communities on a global scale? Because you've been up close and personal with many of these CEOs along the way.
Yes, even more so over the last couple of years, been spending most of my time in boardrooms and really trying to help organizations that are really rising to the challenge of scaling their impact. And they're doing it for several reasons. One, these younger demographics coming through, millennials and Gen Z, they want to work for and buy from companies that are doing good. And two, there's sort of an imposed transparency out there through social media and the web, where if a company misbehaves, they get in trouble. So there's both a carrot and a stick incentive. And the great news is the companies genuinely, authentically, and their leaders are really looking to make a difference for their own people and society at large. And it's been very rewarding to be a part of that process. It's very complicated, and there's a lot of old thinking and behavior that gets in the way. but it is not window dressing. It is happening for real, and there's some really inspiring leaders out there.
Well, when I go to your workshops and your day-long seminars, I'm just in awe of the corporate brands that are stepping up and doing really great grassroots work. And to see that you're in the center of that and molding that conversation is really impactful. So what do you think that we can do as brand builders or people that are finding our purpose and passion? How do we take that into the world? Because you are a branding expert. It'll take an hour just to talk about all the things that you've worked on throughout your career. How do we take that brand and meld it with our purpose and passion?
Well, I think on two levels, this is important work. One, just on a personal, individual level, for your own well-being and fulfillment and satisfaction, it's important to identify your purpose in life and to bring that to activate it in meaningful ways. It gives you a reason to be here. And then in a second level, in your professional capacity as a solopreneur or as a personal brand or as a young company or even a leader of a large organization, you can achieve so much more in line with your purpose together through your organization than you could ever do on your own. And when you have a community of people aligned around your shared values and you really authentically commit to making a difference, it adds a whole new rewarding dimension to your work. And so, our work straddles everything from leadership of some of the largest companies in the world right through down to individuals and solopreneurs. And the common denominator they have is we're all looking for that healthy, but selfish desire, to find fulfillment in how we spend our days. And so, we do workshops and master classes to that end. And we've really worked out a methodology over the last 7 or 8 years of working with many of the top purpose brands out there about how you define that purpose and then how you activate it in a way that allows you to grow your brand and your business so you can ultimately scale your impact.
I love the We First title that you have, because we're, to find our purpose and passion, we have to go within. We have to be the me first so we can put the oxygen mask on and heal from our stories of our past and do the forgiveness and all the things that we've been talking about on this show. But the importance that I saw when you started out, because I knew you before your book came out, you came from a place that we get to work in unity and in community. How have you seen over the last 7 years things that have shifted around that conversation?
Yes, when I shifted towards really helping business become a force for good, I'd more often than not get a nice little pat on the head, and people would say, well, that's nice, but it's a nice to do at best. It's not a must do. But as these younger demographics have come through and we've got greater line of sight to all the challenges we face and how we're really compromising ourselves as a species and as a planet, business has really been forced or has risen to the challenge of making a difference. So what was a difficult conversation or a polite conversation at first is now probably the largest business driver out there for organizations of all types. I mean, really, we only need to look at our own lives and look at our Facebook feeds to see how many brands out there, small companies and large companies, are really talking about the meaningful difference they're making. So, and unfortunately, we can't turn back these crises. We can't turn back the web. We can't turn back these younger demographics. And this driver of business and success is only going to get more important. So it's sad that we're in this place and that we face so many challenges, but it's very exciting to see business rise to the challenge.
Well, it's interesting because we have Sister Jenna and Dr. Sarah, who both have their own brands as radio hosts and entrepreneurs and solopreneurs and the Meditation Museum. I want to open up the conversation to both of them as well to ask you about maybe their own brands and how you took that arc and all that. So Dr. Sarah, Sister Jenna, are you still with us to talk to Simon for a minute?
I am. Hello, Simon. It's Sister Jenna here, and thank you so much for your brilliant sharing. I'm going to take maybe a different stance, not because I'm the angel's advocate, but perhaps, but because of the position that I hold, and I'm just speaking very honestly, I didn't even know we were building a brand until years had passed, and then I realized that it really had an impact. So I think where that branding for me came from was the fact that I was so passionate about what I was called to do that I was more focused on the service or what I really felt pulled to do, and then saw that the brand actually followed suit, and then individuals were identifying with that. So I think in that way, I could speak to the branding that has taken place so far. I've had experts come and tell me I should change the branding for America Meditating Radio and so on. And I said, yeah, I'm sure. Thank you. But you know what? I'm served by every guest that comes on the air with me. And I hope that they're served when they're done with me too. And I'm okay with that. Right. So I think it also speaks on different perspectives as to where your base intent or where your base interest is. And for me, it's the fact that my call is being answered.
I think that's absolutely, I think it's absolutely correct. I think it's two very different perspectives. As the person at the center of the brand, the best thing you can do to really honor yourself and make the impact that you want is to really lean into your integrity and to be fully and passionately of service. From the outside perspective, we're often unconscious that this is going on, but people are really identifying with you and aligning around your values and your passion. And the word that people use to describe that is they see you as a personal brand. They see you as a brand in some way, but really not about manufacturing some image with a go-to-market strategy, but rather really leaning into your integrity and really being of service authentically. And then those who align with you will show up. I do think if the ultimate goal of our role as service providers out there is to have as much impact as possible, I think it's important to be mindful of how we need to leverage tools and technologies in our communications to reach as many people as possible, as quickly as possible. But it's can only ever be done authentically. It has to be done. Otherwise, all those tools will work against you. It just won't ring true.
It's so true, because I think a lot of people that work in the spiritual community and in service, they feel like it's being, a disservice if they start to present themselves as a personal brand or having their voice out there as a brand. So I think it is important to get above the noise because there's so many brands, so many everything on every day we're hit from various levels. So how do you rise above the noise and find the people that resonate with you the most? Sarah, do you have any? Yes, go ahead. Sorry.
I'd like to interject there too. I found for me that even if it feels like I'm trying too much to push me rather than my message, something within my own being doesn't feel right. So I think at some point, at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself what's most important to you.
Exactly.
Service to the spirit, right? Service to the spirit that keeps you true. Or is it that you define being loved or liked has a lot to do with how many followers you have? Please don't disregard the fact that I'm not saying I don't appreciate that. I do. But the fact that it was so important for me to go through an interior cleansing of my intentions so that I could stay true, despite if I succeed as the world will define success for me or not, I would feel like my spirit would be okay.
Absolutely. Right. I totally agree. Dr. Sarah, do you have any thoughts to throw in the mix?
I do, and I'm so glad you're here, Simon, because I think it's so important for us to understand the millennial generation and the Generation Z and all those that are coming. Every 5 years, they have to reinvent themselves or what is happening. When we were growing up, we thought most of our parents had a job from beginning to end, 40 years retirement, whatever that looked like. And now this generation, with transparency, with technology, everything changes. And what I learned just 3 years ago is obsolete today in reaching and connecting with others, or in science, in medicine, in personal development. And I think of our millennial kids and this generation. What do you think is most useful for them? Because every few years they are reinventing themselves. And as companies and as leaders of this generation, we've got to be able to reach them to share what we believe will help them most.
Yeah, I think it's a very difficult time for young people and for kind of existing organizations because so much is changing so quickly. I mean, the half-life of technology is accelerating and accelerating. And so I think for young people, as much as they can see, because I remember being young and it was difficult, as much as they can put work into defining what their purpose is, because your purpose is timeless in a sense, while technology and business is more timely and it will change. If they can put effort into trying to define over time what they stand for and what contribution they want to make in the world that will be most fulfilling to them, then that can serve as a compass, not only for what they should do, but what they should not do as they face the choices of reinventing themselves, new industries, new technologies, new companies, big job or startup job or whatever it might be. By the same token, those on the other side of the table, the large organizations, if they were to support them, I think they should shift their focus from the old mindset of, oh, come to work for us and help us grow the company, to this company is a platform through which we activate certain values that are at the core of our business. And we would love to share those values with you and see if they align with your own personal purpose and values, in which case working here is a chance for you, your whole human being, your full self, to feel more fully realized than somewhere else. In which case, if these large companies now position themselves as a platform for young people to feel more self-expressed in terms of their values and purpose, that's probably the most effective way to support them. And it's also the best way to make sure they stay around, because millennials have a tendency to move around a lot and almost collect your company logo as badges on the way through. And so you not only have to win their attention in the first place, you actually have to keep them there in the meantime.
That brings us to a great time to be able to share what's happening right here in Los Angeles on November 29th. You are having the We First one-day branding purpose masterclass. So take a bit of time and tell us what's going to happen on that day. And then we're going to conclude with a 3-part Facebook Live series that people can tap back into and watch on Facebook if you're listening at this series past November. So let's talk about November 29th. I'm so excited about that class.
Yeah, thank you. November 29th, we're holding a brand purpose masterclass in Los Angeles, and all the details are at wefirstworks.com, wefirstworks with an S.com. And what it is, we do all this incredibly deep consulting work for large, complex organizations, some of the top purposeful brands out there, and solopreneurs and so on. And we've codified that all into a one-day experience, because we hear often from people, they say, we don't really get enough time and we don't have the resources to get top consulting support on how we define our purpose and how we activate it to unlock value for our business and also make a difference in the world. And so we created this masterclass. It's the first time we're doing it, to literally walk 30 people. It's very, very small group. It's very intimate because it has to be for this sort of work. Myself and my team will be walking 30 people through the very same process we use in our work with Tom's and Virgin and Timberland and Sony Pictures and many other companies, as well as startups. And so if you go to wefirstworks.com, you'll see all the details there. But in my mind, it's a great way to get clarity about where you and your company should be headed, and also to really position yourself for growth and impact in 2018. And ultimately, it gives you so much fulfillment and brings so much meaning to your work. And as I said before, it's one of the most important business drivers out there today to make sure your brand is meaningful and relevant to employees and to consumers. So you really have to do it if you're going to succeed in 2018. So wefirstworks.com has all the details, and it'll be a very intimate working collaboration the whole day.
Well, I've done every year, come to your workshops, your seminars, your everything, and you are brilliant deliverer of messaging. You take it in such a place that you get it, and you walk away thinking, "Oh my gosh, it makes so much sense." You've shed so much light upon me and the Gwen brand over the years, and you've gone through the ups and downs and the valleys and the peaks with us. So I love and adore you and appreciate you, and I encourage anyone to sign up for this November 29th event and go to 3-part live Facebook series. Where can they find you on Facebook?
They can find me Simon Mainwaring, Mainwaring, Simon Mainwaring. I've got a public figure page. And I just want to say, every investment of time has to have value. And with the masterclass, you'll walk out with a clear understanding of what the top purposeful brands are doing to drive growth. You'll walk out with a clear definition of your purpose then and there on the day through our work together, and you'll walk out with an activation plan in hand. So it's not about coming and listening to somebody talk. We're working together in the room, so you walk out with those three things in hand so you really get value. And, you know, the 3-part masterclass series around purposeful brands, you know, we've been doing those the last couple of weeks, and we have another one going on tomorrow. And just Mainwaring.com, and it'd be wonderful if people could tune in. That'd be great.
Wonderful. And also I want to do a shout out to our third charity spotlight, which is Simon's one, saying givingtuesday.org. So go check out the 3 spotlights. You'll be able to find all of this information on our Gwen Talks page on gwen.live. I want to just circle back around to Dr. Sarah and Sister Jenna and have them give out their websites and where they can find, especially let's start with Dr. Sarah with this trip to Egypt.
Thank you so much. Our trip to Egypt is for a small group of people to know who they are and why they're here at this time, and also to create peace. We go into these beautiful places, these temples within the pyramids, and we generate an energy within ourselves that activates love for love thy neighbor, that golden rule as being the core message of that's the purpose of this particular trip, is the activation of love thy neighbor as thyself is the core message of all religious organizations and all communities. And then we're also doing work for all governments and all political organizations to feel and know their abundance so that they're able to give back to the citizens that they are to lead. And then that personal journey of remembering who you are throughout time.
I love that. You can go to drsarahlarson.com and /Egypt if you want to find out specifically about that trip. But drsarahlarson.com will give you the whole expansive, beautiful journey.
I'd love to share just one more thing. I've got a gift on there for self-love.
Oh, we love that.
Self-love guided meditation. Repeated listening will help you fall deeply, truly, madly in love with the service, the miracle that only you can make. So
I love that. Well, that's great because we do need the gift of self-love. So Sister Jenna, why don't you let our listeners know where to find you?
Well, everyone, you can find me at meditationmuseum.org or brahmakumaris.org. But what I'd like to shout out is Gwen Life Global. I just thought that since we have the Soul Talk episodes coming up pretty soon, I think it's so important now for everyone to really begin to support this. I was sharing with Gwen earlier on today, mystics and seers have been predicting that 2018 and beyond will be the year for the voices of women and the work of women to be amplified on the planet, all for positive things.
Absolutely.
And so I think if each one actually support work that's actually trying to empower more qualities, which I feel women do model in many ways, they support the show and they support Gwen Global, it'll be a great service for our world.
I love that. And shout out to Gwen.live. Yay.
Yay. And thank you so much, Tess. And it's been such a privilege to be with all of you on the air today. Thank you so very much.
Absolutely. I adore each one of you, and I'm so grateful that you're here, which ties into our episode of Gratitude and Grace. This past Sunday, we had the American Music Awards. I'm going to lead you into an audio soundbite that I checked from Jamie Foxx, who was talking about the importance of music and how we can heal all the things that are going on in the world, which will lead right into our musical spotlight, which is Angela McCluskey with her beautiful song called Handle with Grace. We'll conclude with Mind Over Matter Minute with giving gratitude for not only during Thanksgiving, but having a gratitude practice for everyday living. So thank you again to my guests, and we'll be right back after this break.
Got my daughter here, my family here, because we want to talk about something sincere. This year, more than perhaps any other in recent history, we needed the power of music to help us escape the news of the day. We needed that power of music to help us heal. From hurricanes, wildfires, hate, hatred-fueled violence, 2017 was a year that tested our faith. In these moments of crisis, heroes emerged. With us tonight are some of our first responders who ran towards the danger when it would have been so easy to run away. Please. You can stand up. Thank you, guys. As this year comes to a close, we look forward to 2018 with hope. For even as we mourn those who were lost, we know this: together, our strength will pull us through. Together, we shall overcome the pain. Together, we can unite as a people and as a nation. If you know what I'm talking about, make some noise right now.
Let's climb a building to the sky. Come on, let's walk to Mars. Let's run away for 1,000 miles. All I ask is handle with grace. Handle with grace. That's all I ask. Handle with grace. Just handle with grace. Handle with grace. That's all I ask. Handle with grace. Just handle with grace. Handle with grace. That's all I ask. Handle with grace. Just handle with grace. Handle with grace. That's all I ask. Handle with grace. Just handle with grace. Freeze the magic until it burns. Freeze the magic before it hurts. Freeze the magic until it burns. Freeze the magic. That's all I ask. Handle with grace. That's all I ask. Handle with grace. Just handle with grace. Handle with grace. That's all I ask. Handle with grace. Just handle with grace. Handle with grace. That's all I ask. Handle with grace. Just handle with grace.
And now, a Mind Over Matter Minute.
Thank you for listening to Gwen Talks Radio. This is Tess Cacciatore, your host, and I'm so grateful to all of the people that have been behind the scenes working with me. I want to thank our guests, Dr. Sarah Larson, Sister Jenna, Simon Mainwaring, and our musical spotlight, Angela McCluskey. Also, check out Gwen.live and check out the programs and services that we provide. We are looking to expand our audience, so if you feel that you want to share this show, would be greatly appreciated. And please remember that every day can be a day of giving thanks. Every day can be a day of having gratitude, and every day can be a day of having grace. And remember, the world is much better with you in it. Have a blessed day.
Thank you for listening. Visit us at Gwen.live and join our Gwen community. Share what's on your mind.